So we're diving back in for a part 2 to continue where we left off in the Shane Dawson and Ryland Adams interview. So buckle up and let's keep going together.
Why can't we just get in the car? I'm like, I don't like just getting in the car. I want to know where we're going. Like, I'm down to go somewhere, but I don't just want to sit in the car with nowhere to go because then I don't know where.
But look where we landed.
So we last left off with Shane and Ryland discussing their differences when it came to driving. Shane likes to drive with no destination in mind and arrive where he arrives. Ryland likes things a little more structured and appears uneasy with the concept of no structure. This kind of sums their personalities up to a T. Ryland is more rigid and routine, while Shane is more sloppy and spontaneous.
So we're driving and I was like, oh, la da da. And then you were like, where are we? And I was like, oh. And then I was like, okay, he's sick of driving, but we're pretty far and I don't really know where we are because we weren't even by my house. We were like, I don't even know.
You're like in Reseda. Oh, okay.
It was like, I was a little unfamiliar with where we were, but I knew we were kind of close. And I was like, well, I think we're pretty close to my house. So we could just go watch YouTube or something because we were talking about YouTube. And then you were just like, okay. So then we go to my house and we just start watching YouTube.
Ryland made it sound before like Shane just wanted to get Ryland back at his place. So it's funny to hear Shane explain that that wasn't where he was going with the suggestion. That he just sort of got lost and suggested the nearest destination he knew of, which was his house.
And we watched YouTube for a while and it was fun. I was introducing him to the whole world.
All of them.
He didn't know any of it. And then...
Interesting that Ryland was reporting on YouTubers for his job and apparently didn't know much about them.
Yeah, and then, he made the first move. Ooh. And then this is where it went wrong.
This is where it still goes wrong.
It's interesting that Ryland made the first move too once they actually got back to Shane's place. Considering how Ryland framed it, let's see how it could have possibly gone wrong, and why Ryland says it always goes wrong when he tries to make the first move.
Yes. He makes the first move, right? Now, I don't know how graphic we can get on this, but
you can get as graphic as you want to be.
Okay. It was an over the underwear situation,
PG-ish.
Right?
That's fine.
Okay. So he makes that first move. I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay. So this is interesting. And then I had to pee.
Oh.
So now it's a first date. I have to pee. And I was like, I just gotta go pee real quick.
Sure, that's awkward, but that can't be the problem they're referring to. So let's see what it actually is.
And he was like, what? You can't hold it? And I'm like...
The way Shane presents Ryland back in these days comes off so off-putting. Ryland just comes across as judgmental and condescending in every snippet that Shane shares. And Ryland doesn't even deny it.
Unless you want me to pee you. No, I'm not into that.
He's not into that. Anyone else getting flashbacks of the video Shane did with 18-year-old Tana Mojo, where he had her doing that to him? Because that's the first thing that's springing to my mind.
So I was like, I really gotta go pee.
I don't have this issue. If I have to pee, I can segment.
Yeah. Ryland seems like the type of person who can only accept things he can relate to.
So I get up to go pee. I come back. He's buttoned up.
Oh,
it's over.
The moment had been lost. It was a first date.
The moment was
I was like, oh, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to go now. He wasn't. So then, but I think that was a blessing in disguise because it was a nice slow, because then I find out later that he's a grinder addict and that he's a hookup queen. And that.
So let's be real. Ryland likely felt rejected, so it took him out of the mood. It's very self-centered-esque. He seemed annoyed that Shane didn't prioritize trying to hook up with him over a physical need. But it's interesting that Shane refers to it as blessing in disguise and brings up Ryland's extracurricular activities. Shane has talked about them before in multiple other videos. How Ryland was extremely active on certain apps.
His friends are calling him hand queen, and I'm sitting here thinking, was I just another one on the list?
Okay, we were talking about career.
Sounds like Shane didn't make the list at all. Shane makes it sound like Ryland is so easy and got around so much, yet he put a stop to them, moving forward pretty quickly and left. So what does that tell you? It's telling us something.
I never felt ready to enter a relationship when I was chasing my career because I was dedicating all my time to getting some. And I always thought, well, once I'm once I have something steady, that's when I'll open myself up to a relationship. In he walks.
A career where he had a job that he didn't seem that informed on. Just interesting to note that, because he acts like he's so serious about it. But also what Ryland is saying here tracks. There was a video he did with an ex-boyfriend and Shane, where the ex revealed Ryland wasn't exactly the relationship type, and kind of strung him along. And Ryland had admitted at the time it's because he wasn't ready for anything serious. Sounds like Ryland wasn't much of a relationship guy back in the day.
Finally settled down. A couple of months later, in he walks.
What happened? I didn't know that he walked.
Well, into my life.
Oh, I thought you meant walked out. I'm like,
no,
wait.
He walked into my life. But
how did she not know where Ryland was going with that? He clearly was saying that's when Shane walked into his life. Why would she take it as a negative that he walked out? Maybe it's all the negativity she's hearing about how their relationship started.
Before that, I was just hooking up.
Because you weren't looking for anything.
No, I wasn't looking for a relationship, but I still wanted to hook up with people. So in my early 20s, yeah.
Which is so funny.
He doesn't really have to defend himself here. He was single and had no obligations. But Shane sort of put him in the position where he had to defend himself. Because Shane was making it sound like Ryland being on the apps was a bad thing. I think personally that Shane was a little bit jealous because Shane himself had tried to put himself out there and failed to do so due to his insecurities. He talked before about past attempts to do the same thing Ryland did, but it not working out for him. So it's not like he was above what Ryland was doing.
Funny because in the early parts of our relationship, he was really weird about me sleeping in the same bed as him.
What?
Yes, you were. You were like, I like my space. Like, okay.
Well, I never shared. I would hook up with people and go.
Yeah.
Considering they claimed they're sleep divorced, now this tracks. Seems like Ryland never got over preferring his own space.
Yeah, it wasn't like a relationship.
I never had been in a... He is my first real relationship.
Oh, wow.
Scary.
I guess Ryland doesn't count the ex since Ryland admitted he wasn't ready for the ex at the time. So he classifies Shane as his first, since it's the first one he's apparently been invested in. Interesting that he married the first guy he got into a serious relationship with too. But interestingly enough, Ryland was also Shane's first relationship with a man. He had dated women before him, but Ryland was his first serious relationship with a guy. So technically, they're actually both each other's firsts in a way.
Oh, not really.
That's scary.
You converted him.
I had a few people I dated long term, but I was never... It was always... They were more interested in me than I was them, and I wasn't ready for something.
Yeah, you weren't really committed.
Yeah.
So like I just said, Ryland considers Shane his first, because Shane was the first one he was actually interested in and invested in. Notice how Shane said it was scary to be Ryland's first relationship, and Katie said not really. I wonder if Shane referred to it as scary because of the potential pressure that type of label comes with. Maybe it was the concern of being a disappointment for Ryland. But clearly that wasn't the case, considering they're married with kids now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now he gets mad when I don't sleep in the same bed as him. So bringing it back to that.
Wait. Here I thought it was Ryland still wanting his space. But we find out it's actually Shane who isn't sleeping in the same bed with him. All right, let's keep going. We have to find out more about this. And what's going on here?
Well, I remember back in the day when we did a video together, it was you were mad because of his sleep schedule.
Yes. It's all revolved around... Now the sleep schedule is a blessing. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm going to go to bed, you're going to have your time.
It is.
And then I have my morning. Yeah. And we really do, because we both work from home, we're with each other all the time.
Yep.
Interesting that something he hated and was initially a problem is now preferable to what's apparently going on now.
So it is nice for us. That is something I've come to love about us and our schedule, because I realized I was never going to change that. We were never going to be that couple. And it was more a fantasy of mine than a great reality of the couple that brushes their teeth together and then they get into bed together. And it's like...
And with the acoustics in his mouth.
Then we wake up to...
Oh, are you funny? Do you have like
misophonia?
A misophonia?
Yes.
It's really interesting that Ryland went from a hookup guy who wasn't interested in relationships to having fantasies of having the perfect in-sync relationship. That's quite the jump he wanted to make from nothing to all. Doesn't sound like Shane was too on board with that vision. In fact, Shane immediately cringes at the thought and calls out something he perceives to be a negative that interferes with that vision of Ryland's. And also, come on, Shane self-admittedly barely even showers. So I guess Ryland's pipe dream of having them brush their teeth together was always a long shot.
Nobody can brush their teeth
The
around
brushing?
him. Nobody can mouthwash.
It's not nobody. It's
nobody.
specific.
specific.
Kind of a rude thing to say that it's not just anybody, it's Ryland specifically that he doesn't want to do it with. Doesn't seem like he wants to do much with Ryland, period. Remember, he doesn't even like sitting side by side with him on that couch they're on now.
The way that he mouthwashes is gnarly. He'll do that.
Yeah,
He'll do that for
I'm
like
killing the germs.
3 minutes.
You're welcome.
It's
And then,
crazy.
oh, you gurgle?
I know, I don't.
No, but then he'll go right in with the toothbrush. And it's electric.
Mine
Go,
is too.
go.
He's very clean. He never has
Yes,
bad breath.
yes, the dead.
Being annoyed by something this small about your partner gives me the vibes that he's actually annoyed by certain things about Ryland in general. They live together. They're together all the time. You're bound to get on each other's nerves. But this is a pretty petty thing to be that up in arms about where you can't brush your teeth next to someone. And notice how, when Katie gives Ryland a compliment, Shane has to argue with it and let her know that what she thinks isn't the case. I just think it's interesting that Shane has so much to say about this, when Ryland doesn't even say anything about the fact that Shane admittedly doesn't shower much and doesn't appear to be very hygienic in a lot of areas.
I think that's a medical issue that we're working on, but yeah. Listen, we have our things.
So that was
They're so critical of each other, brushing it off as, we all have our things, when their things are legitimately, apparently, so grating that they can't be near each other for various small things is kind of wild.
hurdle. We overcame that hurdle, and then we got this. We turned Shane's office into a movie theater. We just got a projector.
I don't like the quotes, yeah.
Well, because it's
not a movie
calling
theater.
it a movie
but-
theater sounds really like official, where really it's just a projector.
Which is nice
in a
and
room. It's
fancy.
nice. It's
With
not a
a-
movie theater, but it's nice.
A theater room.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
These two are even critical about the way each other describes their movie room.
we got this.
We're crushing
I
his
was proud
dreams
of
right
it, but
now.
okay.
No.
Worked hard on it.
We
The
exist.
projector is sitting on a box with tape on the ground. Like, don't move it. This is where it goes. Like,
And
it's-
if it does get moved, there's
Then you push it back to the...
to the tape
tape.
on the floor. And the projector covers the door to the bathroom, so you have to lift the projector to get into the bathroom. But it is our favorite
this
room
is sounding
in the
like
house.
Regal Cinemas to me, to be honest. I see no difference.
Can't really downplay a movie room. That's a luxury, even if it's how they describe. It's not like most people have one in their houses. At least they have something, alongside their millions.
It's incredible quality. And
Yeah.
we've got a great sound system. It's perfect.
Also,
Okay.
you guys like movies.
We don't even really watch. I mean, he
falls
watches
asleep during
movies.
movies.
He
I
watches
forgot.
movies once I go to bed.
Yeah.
We
I
watch YouTube, Drag Race, and
And then you fall asleep.
yeah. So we got this big, ugly couch.
I'm sorry, guys, but the more and more I hear, I just wonder what these two have as a baseline interest. They don't share hobbies. They don't share interests. They don't share the same values or visions or mindsets. They're critical of each other and annoy each other. What is it that they like about each other? Even now, Ryland criticizes something else, and look at Shane's face. These two don't see life in the same way or appreciate the same things, which would be fine if they at least liked each other. But do they?
That is the size of a bed.
Uh-huh.
And he got sick. When Shane gets sick, he's always slept on couches. He got
Oh,
sick one
interesting.
time. He was sleeping on the couch and will never come back to the bed.
That's actually not true. What happened was,
Okay, so we're getting more into the sleep divorce here. Ryland says it all started when Shane got sick and went to sleep on the couch and just never returned. That's his perception of what happened. But Shane argues that that isn't the reality. So let's hear Shane's version of events.
My
Bad memory.
parents were in town.
Your family came to town, so
I gave them my
me
bedroom.
and him together slept on our movie theater couch, and it was amazing. We loved it. And then once his family left, he went back to the bedroom, and I was like, "Ugh." See, because I have this weird thing where I don't know what it is, but I have a hard time falling asleep, but also my heart races a lot, and I get like heart palpitations or something when I'm trying to fall asleep. What? Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right, so Shane reveals that it was actually a choice he made due to comfort after they both slept on another bed for a while, and he found that he preferred it more. But then why not just switch out the main bedroom bed for that one, or even just have Ryland sleep with him in that room? Let's find out.
So that happens, but then it doesn't happen in the theater room. So I'm like, oh, the energy in here is really good. I don't want to go back to the bedroom.
I was thinking it's like anxiety or something. Would be my guess. Maybe aspartame.
So the room is a calmer vibe for Shane, and he doesn't have any physical reactions in it. But it sounds like it's not a Ryland issue, because remember they were both sleeping in there together initially, and Shane felt calmer. So he's not calmer away from Ryland, he's just apparently calmer away from their bedroom. Let's keep listening.
So I'm like, well, I want to keep sleeping well. So I'm not going to leave. You can come here though. You can come here. And then he was really mad at first, and now we love it.
Okay, so Shane invited Ryland to continue to sleep with him in there. So it's not as BAS as originally thought. He says they both love the sleep situation now, but it sounds like Ryland is about to argue with that point.
I would still prefer to wake up in the middle of the night and have somebody next to me,
You
but
could text me.
I would rather... No, when
You
we
can
were-
scream.
When we were evacuated from the fire, you would not hear me.
I wouldn't. The theater is very well insulated.
Don't know how much texting will get him, considering they spoke about how Shane doesn't text him much anymore in the first place. But if Ryland really does prefer the comfort of having his husband next to him, why not just sleep in the movie room with him? Even sometimes...
No, when we were evacuated and sleeping in the same bed, I loved it. But I've learned to be okay with... I do like having my bedroom.
Yeah.
We have different schedules, so I get to have my bedroom in the morning.
And then you
I
sleep
get to,
well.
Yes. So there's perks, but I would still rather him be in my bed.
Well, and I have friends who are married and sleep divorced.
Ryland does seem much more into the intimacy aspects of a relationship than Shane does. Shane seems like he can take or leave sleeping with Ryland, whereas Ryland has a preference to be with his husband. Ryland wants to do things together and be texted, and Shane doesn't seem interested in those. Ryland appears to want to have an actual life companion that he's actually doing things with, where Shane seems satisfied just to be living in the same house together with that much interaction. Now let's hear what the therapist has to say about sleep divorce. It sounds like it's about to be positive.
They sleep in separate bedrooms. And they love it. And they talk about all the benefits. You don't get woken up by them, or they're snoring, or them moving, or them coming in later, or whatever.
That is the thing. He could not come in later. Always turned on the flashlight, always tripped on something, and I was like, I'd always scream at him, and he could never do that good enough either.
Yeah. Because it's tricky. I mean, Sean and I are that way too. We like stay up later. I usually go to bed first. You know, it's like, it's tricky. It's also like pitch black. And he's
Yeah.
like, he has the flashlight on his phone, like trying to find his way. And sometimes I'm like, hi, honey. Like, I see you. Just turn the light on. I'll just go under the cover. But I would like to sleep alone for the sleep, but I prefer to be with him.
Yes.
Because I actually don't sleep well when he's gone. I don't know if I'm like worried I'm going to get robbed or I don't know. I just don't sleep as well.
It's not that big of a mystery as to why she would feel more comfortable with her partner in the bed. It's a sense of comfort and security. It's likely the same thing Ryland is missing. You just feel safer with someone beside you.
I don't think I would sleep at this house if he was gone.
Yeah, it'd be creepy. You can come over. Sleep over.
I don't think it has to do with you.
No, it doesn't.
You've never slept well,
It's his environment.
Okay.
He loves that environment, and he falls asleep in that environment, and I don't think it's me.
No.
We're always together.
Shane says he doesn't think it's Ryland, but he doesn't look or sound too sure about that. It doesn't sound like it's Ryland, though, considering he slept completely fine with Ryland in the movie room and even offered to still sleep with him in there. It genuinely doesn't sound like he doesn't want to sleep with Ryland unless I'm being completely naive right now.
I know.
We're never not together, really.
Really,
So
I always think that takes a special relationship though, because Sean and I are the same. We work together and live together, and I like don't get sick of him.
it's crazy.
And actually would prefer, like, if people are like, "We want you to come to this thing," I'm like, "Well, I needed a +1."
Ryland and Shane do get sick of each other, though. That's the thing. They've shared their many annoyances about each other. It's not like they're living happily together and doing everything together. They just stated they don't do much together and are separate in a lot of their activities. They just live together. They share the same space. That's it. They might film together, but that's not the same as what Katie is talking about. Katie is talking about what Ryland said he wanted before, to do everything with a partner, which he clearly doesn't because Shane doesn't want to.
My buddy, we go everywhere.
Yeah.
And I like it that way.
yeah.
He's honestly maybe one of the only people I've ever had that with. Like, we never are
Same.
like, I need a break or I need
Never.
my space. Like, never.
Yeah.
And
Same.
Why would they need a break or space if they're already giving that to each other? They're acting like they're on top of each other 24/7 and love it, but they aren't. They're just sharing living quarters.
Even when we're fighting, we still. So we'll get into a fight and it'll be dramatic. And he'll be upset and I'll be upset. And then I'll go up to the movie theater. And then maybe like 10 minutes later, he comes up to the theater and he's mad. And he'll just sit down across the couch and fold his arms and just be watching YouTube with me. And I'm like, wow, you couldn't even be away from me. We're so mad at each other.
He misses you already.
Well, yeah, Ryland is mad and likely wants acknowledgement and attention of him being upset. Of course, he's going to go linger around the person he wants it from. But we already know by their own admissions that Ryland is the more needy one. He wants the intimacy, he wants Shane's company. It's Shane who goes to sit alone in the movie room that's the one creating distance. And who doesn't want to do anything with him, or even text him? Shane is the one creating the distance. Of course Ryland is going to go seek him out and close the distance. But would Shane do the same thing? Shane's reference is Ryland closing the gap, not himself. And we already know Ryland has expressed interest in closing the gap. It's not surprising, but it's also not indicative of them, just loving to be around each other and constantly on top of one another. Only one of them is showing interest in that.
I miss it too. And then I turn to him and I go, I love you. And then he'll go, I love you. I love you. I say, okay, can we not fight? I didn't want to fight. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Aw. Yeah.
Shane taking the initiative to try to make amends verbally first shows his interest in closing the emotional gap. That's good. But it's still Ryland making the first move to seek him out in the first place. Shane says he misses Ryland too when it happens, but then why isn't he the one seeking him out? But I'll give credit where it's due. It's emotionally mature and intelligent to try to reassure your partner during a fight that you still love them in spite of the argument, so that you both know the baseline emotional connection is still strong. So it's nice to see that Shane is showing effort somewhere.
We have to come back together.
Well, yeah, we're all we got. What are we going to do?
I know.
We got
Same.
babies and we got animals and, like, you know, we got more. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what?
No, you're all you got.
we couldn't survive without each other.
Oh,
gotta
no,
have each
no,
other.
no, no, no.
Oh my
That would
God.
be awful.
Where all we got doesn't sound as loving as the saying should. Shane says it more in exasperation. Someone in our comments said their relationship is more like an alliance than a romantic relationship, and that's the vibe we're getting here with this statement from Shane. It shouldn't be, we're all we got. It should be, we're all we want.
Okay, so
Yes.
babies.
Okay.
How do we decide to have babies?
Do
Tell
you
me all
remember
about
the
it.
conversation? I think when we started dating, we both wanted kids. But I don't know if we both wanted them at the same time further into our relationship, but I don't remember the conversation.
Okay, so they at least had this one interest that aligned. This is an important topic to get a feel for in a relationship, whether you want children and when. Looks like they were essentially on the same page.
I only remember you guys all of a sudden talking about it. Like it was going to happen or it was a thing, but I don't...
Right. We started, I mean, we had been talking about it for a while, and then maybe in like 21, we were like, oh, like let's do it. And then we were doing research and we kind of just right away jumped into it and like found a place and found egg donors, and like we just really pretty much right away, every decision along the way we agreed on it without even saying it. And
Isn't
then
that
we
nice?
like it's
Makes
not
it easy.
Like the
Yeah.
donor, we
It's
both...
like it's meant to be.
Yes, yeah.
Interesting that this was the one subject that they could agree on. It's a very important one, so it's good for them. But why is it the only thing they've ever seemed so aligned on?
Yeah. And so what has it been like?
It's just the craziest, like best life altering. I don't even know. It kind of just changes everything because it's like, oh, what was my life before this? What actually matters? What doesn't matter? What?
Okay, I know we're on the outside looking in, but his life literally appears to be operated in the same way as it was before the kids. I always have a hard time buying Shane speaking emotionally about something because it always seems pretty performative. It's not like he disappeared off of YouTube to go raise his children. The things that mattered to him before them still seem to matter now. Views, YouTube, luxury items.
He's a workaholic. I mean, he used to be... You still have tendencies, but you were a workaholic previously. I mean, you solved that prior to kids.
I'm like, which tendencies?
The workaholism.
You think I still have any of that? I'm so late on my video.
There's nothing wrong with working a lot if you love it. But I get that for a partner and a family, that the person who is working a lot has to make time for them too. It's interesting that Ryland brings up the workaholic label, and Shane immediately looks offended and disagrees. But let's see where it goes. It always seems like they can never agree on anything, and always have two different perceptions of their shared reality, which is normal, but it's always on the opposing ends of each other.
We're going to Knott's Berry Farm. What are you talking about?
I guess no, not anymore. No.
I mean, yeah, if I'm in the zone, I can
Previously.
edit for 12 hours and not even look up. But like,
Yeah, I guess you haven't been like that in a long time.
No.
Not
Yeah, I was
since
like,
the kids have
we
been
already
around.
spent an hour him saying how he
I
wasn't.
know.
that way
I'm like,
anymore.
I'm working hard on that.
You know what? Thinking to the past since we've had kids, he has not.
Ryland quickly changed his tune there with Shane's defense. I guess he realized how much worse it could be if Shane was operating the way he initially used to, so decided to let it go.
No.
Wow.
It is such a crazy experience to be responsible for people, and everything they're experiencing is for everything for the first time. Everything, like down to, you go to the store and you bring in some item from the store and they've never seen it before, and it's the craziest thing in the whole world.
Like
it's
rain.
Oh my
if
God.
They haven't experienced it, right?
Everything. It's like, it's a craziest, like, it just makes you, I don't know, it makes you appreciate everything. It makes you excited about everything. Like, we're so excited about holidays like we were before, but now it's like, oh, we're experiencing life all over again.
Because you're seeing them see something for the first time.
Yeah, so it's like
It's interesting that Shane is less concerned about not disappointing his children with being there first for everything, as he was to being the first relationship for Ryland. He referred to that as scary, but he's not scared of providing firsts for his children. He's more confident and emotional when it comes to that. That's a good thing. But it's just interesting that he wasn't as sure of himself in being able to provide a first for Ryland. Seems like he was more insecure about being a boyfriend and a husband than a father.
it's not just you. You
Yeah.
get to also watch them. So that's like a double. It's like a double holiday.
Yeah.
Every holiday.
Just that like instant trust that they have and love that they have for you, which like, I mean, luckily we love and trust and love them back, but it's this crazy like instant thing because we're all that they have. Like they depend on us for everything. It's like, thank God that we love them so much and that we're so connected as a family, all this. But it is like like, wow, like we are fully responsible. And although that does delve in a little bit, I've been getting better. It delves into a little bit of my paranoia with, like choking and, medical things. And like, if one of them has a rash, I get crazy about it. And
I'm not sure why, but him saying luckily, we love them back is such a strange statement to make. It's almost like he's implying that he's surprised at how vulnerable and trusting babies are, and how dangerous that can be. I don't know why he keeps saying luckily, they love them back.
I'm like, we need to go to the doctor, like, because I'm scared. I'm like, oh my god, we're responsible.
The chiller of the two.
He's a little chiller.
It is. I try not to think about it in such a big picture, because then you can think, this is so overwhelming. I am responsible for everything.
Yeah.
But when you're just taking it day by day, it is very rewarding, as it is exhausting and crazy and life-changing.
It's good that Ryland keeps a cool head about things. It's always reassuring when one partner is able to keep calm and think rationally, even in moments of potential panic. It also sounds in general like Ryland does most of the work, so he'd be used to things that maybe Shane wasn't. Although we will say that if anyone remembers what happened to their kitten, that they severely neglected how to react during that time. When their kitten was injured and Ryland ignored all of the warning signs to take it to the vet, and it ended up passing. It's good that he's calm with children, but it's a shame they weren't as in tune or knowledgeable about their pets, which are also living beings that rely on them.
Yeah. Do you think it's changed your relationship?
We've had to communicate better.
Yeah, I mean, I think it changed. I was going to say it made us closer, but I guess it definitely, I will say, the actual moment, like the birth and that experience was the craziest moment of our lives together, and both on the same wavelength of the emotions and the feelings, and like it was just the best day of our lives, and it was together, and it was
So it was a moment that they could relate to in a way that nobody could relate with them, because it was personal to them in the exact same way. They were having the exact same thing happen at the exact same time. Of course, they're going to feel bonded and closer experiencing something like that together that nobody can experience with them. I'm sure their children did in a sense bring them closer, but they still seem to be very distant and off with each other in a lot of aspects of life. It's almost like they're close in big moments, but don't know how to be close in everyday, small ones.
Because, we got married and other things like that, but this was different, and it was like, oh, that's something that we only experienced that one time with each other. Like, I don't know. Like, it felt very, like, special, and so I think that did bring us closer. And then, man, that first month, that was hard.
Huge life moments tend to bring people closer, but it's the small ones that keep them together, which they haven't quite seemed how to figure out.
That was hard.
Well, you had two also. Like, I mean, there's two of you and two of them, but it's not like
they almost outnumber
in a
the
way
two
they
adults
do.
Because they can't communicate. They both had different. I mean, one baby always. I mean, every baby has some sort of issue. Not even a forever issue, but either acid reflux or what, not taking to a formula or whatever. So then you're timesing it by 2, and it's just a little bit of chaos. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was hard. It was hard because, like,
2 newborns would definitely be overwhelming to anybody. And 2 babies. And 2 toddlers. Shane thinks it was hard in the first month. Just wait until he sees how hard it can get. You can definitely feel outnumbered even by 1 baby. It's an overwhelming experience.
I wasn't on a sleeping schedule at all. Although
you never.
Me? Oh. And I also, because I get scared, every little noise, I'd be like, something's happening.
Oh.
Because babies make a lot of noises, but especially there's 2 of them, and they were doing this thing where they would like spit up and then choke on it. And now which I guess is normal. But then
They weren't premature, but they were
So small.
right on the borderline of that.
Oh,
They were
how
born
many
at-
pounds were they? Yeah, like 6 or something.
One was 4'12" and one was 5'8".
Oh, they were little. Yeah.
I mean, we can't even fault Shane here, honestly. Having to take care of a baby is scary. It's easy to panic at little things you're not used to or have never seen before. You're just naturally more protective and concerned around them.
Yeah.
So they were little. They I think just barely didn't have to go to the NICU.
Yeah.
But they were small, tiny little babies.
and when we were in the
And those
hospital,
little diapers and
so tiny.
so tiny.
And when we were in the hospital, that first night was the craziest. I mean, I'm happy that it was such an experience. I'll never forget it. But like, so Jet was like cold and needed to warm up. And we were right on the line of like, if he gets too cold, it's NICU time. So we have to keep him warm. So then the nurse came in and we had not slept all night, right?
Babies are overwhelming as it is. This sounds even more stressful to instantly be this concerned about temperatures and risks. Parenthood can be a pretty terrifying experience. Rewarding, yes, but still terrifying at times.
We're both so tired, but we have on a shusher for them to keep them sleeping. So it's like, shh, shh. So we're trying to stay awake during the shusher. And
It's
then,
like putting you to sleep.
yeah. And then the nurse
we
comes
don't know
in
what we're doing.
and the nurse is like, oh, you need to be holding Jet so that he warms up, like skin to skin. So then Ryland's holding Jet skin to skin. But then Ryland starts falling asleep. You can't sleep while you're holding a baby. So, because you could drop the baby. And then, so I'm standing at the bed, at the end of the bed going, stay awake, stay awake. But in the background, it's shh, shh. And he's like falling. It was like a nightmare.
What an experience. And in all fairness, Ryland says they didn't know what they were doing, but nobody ever really does when they're first-handed their first child. Every experience is different and unique like the child itself, and it's all a learning curve. Can't fault them for not knowing every little thing to do or how to do it perfectly.
It was
Yeah,
crazy.
It's like the wildest
Torture.
marathon of, yeah.
Yeah, it was like 3 days of no sleep in the hospital just because everyone's coming in. You're still trying to figure it out. We were so scared of them spitting up while on their back and choking on
The
it.
amount of times I hit that panic button, because one of them would do that where they'd be like, "Bleh," and then they'd be like, and then I'd turn and try, whatever, and I'd hit the panic button. They're choking, and then the nurse would come in and be like, "This is normal." Like,
I'm sure that's frustrating on a nurse's part, but this is understandable for first-time parents. Better safe than sorry. Like I said before, they should have had that mentality for their kitten. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
I'm like,
But who knows
okay, but
what's
you didn't hear
normal?
it. You didn't hear it. It was scary.
Again, we're not going to fault new parents for being overly concerned. It happens. Better to call the nurse and potentially annoy her than not have a potential issue seen. I can understand both parents and professionals' views here. What I struggle to understand a bit is Katie's profession here. I know this isn't a therapy session, even though it's titled as one, but there's a lot of things these two have said that she just doesn't comment on or oddly justifies in some way. And like I said before, all I can think about is Jacqueline Glenn commenting on how she operates as a therapist, and I'm wondering if there's more to that. She kind of just seems to tell everyone what they want to hear, depending on how she's in front of, but this is YouTube, not therapy, so I guess it's expected here. Not too much, with Jacqueline Glenn's case though. But all in all, so far I'm seeing a lot of cracks in this relationship, with very little glue actually holding it together. At least so far. But maybe things will change in part 3? Stay tuned to find out, because we're not finished yet.